sound of the band as a unit has always been a really cohesive thing, and like I imagine it is in any really distinctive band. It's like every part of the equation is equally important to the, it's rarely one person that really kind of carries the whole thing. It's it's a really guitar heavy band, and so in that way, I guess you could say that I have a pretty heavy stamp on that, and but it's so important to how Sean and I play together, and how Mike and I play together as well. That makes that all work. It really takes the team. So I mean, and sometimes we play. Sometimes you can play multiple positions on the same team, and sometimes you do in a band. It's like one guy steps up, another guy kind of steps down or steps back. But I've been lucky to be able to write a lot for this band, and that's another thing I'm very proud to do. And actually to be able to create things that you enjoy, but also maybe speak for the guys in the band, and then maybe even on a bigger level, if it gets to that, if it passes that filter of the band and something that we can all stand behind, then it gets to go out into the world and see who it turns on. Everybody pretty much starts out the same way. You're a fan of music, and maybe there's some players that you really gravitate toward, toward, and maybe kind of started you out. And for me, a lot of the guys that I gravitated towards earlier, one wasn't even really a guitar player, and it was Elton John for me. That was the first music I ended up hearing, and kind of lit a fire under my ass and kind of made me want to do that. Some of the guitar players that had the biggest impact on me when I was younger was probably Angus and Malcolm Young. I would say had probably the biggest and remained probably one of my favorite rock and roll bands of all time, and that real distinguishable sound. And so you end up emulating, your heroes, I guess, or guys that you look up to, and at some point maybe you start becoming yourself by emulating others, and that's how it worked for me, and I think it works for most guys that way. And if you're able to, I think we were able to maybe find that sound right about the time we made that first record. It was really coming into focus there. It wasn't maybe completely there yet, but I think for the most part, that first record, Facelift, there's a stamp there. And as we continue to make music and records, that kind of that got defined, and it also got broadened. We did a lot of styles of music. We did some really heavy stuff, and basically a hard rock band that had some metal tinges, and there was some punk stuff in there, and the blues, and there's even some country stuff on even the acoustic stuff. I mean, I grew up listening to all sorts of stuff, country, pop. I mean, I've been listening to some disco. I mean, blues, soul, and a big, healthy helping of like rock and roll and English metal. I was a really big fan of guitar tandems, and a lot of the stuff that I listened to early on were tandems. I mean, like Angus and Malcolm and K.K. Downing and Glenn Tipton were really big with me. Dave Murray and Adrian Smith. There's a bunch of those, and but even Metallica and stuff. But I was always drawn to the rhythm aspect of guitar before I ever was drawn to anything that was like the soloist aspect of a guitar, and I guess that always stuck with me, is the rhythms and riffs, how riffs make a song, and that groove, and how important that is. And I'd be just as happy playing rhythm guitar all the time. I'd gladly be Malcolm Young. I mean, no problem. I love guys that are dedicated to that, and I think think James Hetfield is an amazing rhythm player, you know, and so I guess I was always drawn to that first, and songwriting within creating those riffs, and you know, most of my solo work, you know, there are some songs where I kind of maybe take a little bit of an extended attack at like doing some stuff, but it's basically kind of pretty brief and for the song, and also kind of created as like as a vocal part, as like a singing vocal part, you know. Right. I didn't put enough time in practicing to be super pyrotechnic guy. I didn't. I made a conscious choice to. I maybe could have gone that way at one particular point, but it's more important to me to create songs, I guess, and work off of a rhythm bass. The song is it's in standard Alice in Chains tuning, which is a half step down. So, and then whenever we drop a D, we're basically in C sharp. So those are the two tunings that I use. I have used an open tuning, like a little bit, maybe on the Dog record, like Over Now, I think is like that, and there might be a couple in my solo records too. But those are the three tunings I use the most. So this is basic, starts on the first fret bend, and it's a 3-part tune. So there's the main riff, the chorus, and then there's kind of a B part, which kind of tees off the chorus as well. So I'll do a little condensed version of it. So it's basically, it starts with a bend up and you let down, and then do a pull to kind of get back to the first bend. Little side note, we had to drop Mike's E string to a D because the first fret bend on a bass is not fun. So he's bending at the G. So. That's it.
It must be wild to sing over it too.
It's not as hard as you would think, you know? It's like, so I found myself in the sun. Oh yeah. Hell of a place to end a run. Oh yeah. California, I'm fine. Somebody check my brain. California's alright. Somebody check my brain. Check my brain. It's not that tough. Some of the songs that you might think would be tough are really not. Some of the ones that you might listen to and think that are easy are really hard. Like a Looking in View is fucking ridiculous to sing. It's like it's totally this type of shit, you know. I can't even do that, you know what I mean? But it's that type of thing, you know, like fucking rubbing your stomach and patting your head. It's like some of the songs take a lot of work. This one I've gotten kind of used to. But I mean, I remember another riff. Remember Chris Cornell always used to trip out about what was it? What the hell have I? And singing over that, you know, singing. He always tripped out over that, but that one's actually pretty easy to sing over.
Easy for you.
Yeah, easy for me. Yeah. Man in the Box is, you know, again, one of those super simple riffs that there's a lot of them in Alice work actually, and I just I find a lot of the times the simplest songs are the best, and this was a classic tune that people, you know, ask over and over and over for. So basically, it's just standard Alice tuning, half step down for 440. It's just holding it's the open E string and the fifth fret on the A. So it's. That's basically it. Basically, the open intro is it's in a standard Alice tuning. The open intro is on some harmonics. Mike's doing the bass line, but it basically starts off. It's a super condensed version, but all the parts are there.